Very carefully at the situation. Obviously a major malfunction.
Their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. Robert Kennedy was shot in that ballroom.
A sniper has fired at President Kennedy. Thomas Barton, or have you ever been a member of Thomas
Never done.
Something never before experienced. 1941, a date which will live in...
And we continue the season's final edition of our Maxwell House Good News of 1930.
Walter Winchell. Good evening, Mr. North American. All the ships at sea. Let's go to press.
CQ, this is W9GFO here. Come back. CQ. CQ. This is W9GFO here. Come back.
The first attempt to overcome distance by electrical means started in the 18th century with Leyden jars and long stretches of chain or wet string, Benjamin Franklin being one of these people. When Volta discovered the electrical pile and was capable of producing direct current, that opened the way for the experiments of Faraday and Henry in developing the electromagnetic telegraph. This development inspired the search for a wireless telegraph. With the advent of the Edison and Tesla power systems, the implement for wireless furthered. The declaration of Maxwell that electricity and light were analogous laid the groundwork, and Tesla's development of alternating oscillating current devices naturally led to the electric wireless.
Crude-looking instrument, but one that was destined to develop the modern miracles of radio. Marconi amazed the world by sending and receiving wireless messages 3,000 miles across the Atlantic. Since its invention, wireless has saved numberless ships and human lives from ocean disaster. Mankind can never forget its debt to Guglielmo Marconi.
Tesla was more interested in wireless power than wireless telegraph, that is, the wireless transmission of electricity. This led to far different results from those of Hertz and Marconi. Amateur radio played a part in the experimental development, but was shut down in the massive global readjustment program following 1913. Free communications was not in the plan. Marconi stations such as KPH in Bolinas, California were seized, and RCA took over and eliminated the Marconi system, fashioned on Tesla's ideas. Following RCA's formation, amateur radio was restored and given the worthless frequencies above 1,500 kilocycles.
It was nicknamed the Brick, Motorola's prototype cellular phone used to make what is regarded as the first public mobile phone call on April 3rd, 1973.
Repeat, solar flux, 26H, and estimated index 14. The planetary effect at 1500 UT on 14 February was 3. Repeat, 3. Solar transfer conditions for the last 24 hours follow. Solar activity was moderate. Geomagnetic field was mostly unsettled. The forecast for the next 24 hours follows. Solar activity will be moderate. The geomagnetic field will be mostly unsettled. Satellite number, Scotland exists.
Hi, I'm Tom Brown, Director of Borderland Sciences, and here we are in our new laboratory on the San Andreas Fault of Northern California. What you just heard is a solar terrestrial report coming over radio station WWV on 10 megacycles, and we're using a fire hydrant for the antenna. And today we're going to explore Tesla's wireless power, and we're going to go around and show you various sites, mainly the Marconi Wireless Building at Bolinas, California, and with Eric Dollar describe how wireless power works and how what's known as radio today really isn't what was happening back in the old days. So basically this is our lab now. Our previous videos have come from our top secret lab in the vast suburban wastelands of Southern California, and now we're dodging the authorities in the bushes of Northern California. So hope you have a good day as we travel around here. And here we see scientist Eric Dollard in the Borderland laboratory, which was pulled out of a ditch and restored.
We have our solar terrestrial work here we're doing. You see the graph of sunspot activity over the last rotation of the sun. Of course, one of our main Borderland projects is the study of the sunspots and their effect on atmospheric weather here on the Earth, and on accident rates and earthquakes and a number of other things. So last rotation, last month, produced some rather major flares. Activity rose up rather high. Each one of these little lines up here indicates a flare that occurred. It quieted down around the 22nd of January and started building back up recently, but this spot hasn't really panned out.
Yes, last rotation. So this is one rotation around, and here's the next rotation. This rotation was the biggest of cycle 22 so far, with the solar flux reaching 399.
No, 299.
299,
yeah.
Right.
No, the record in cycle 21 was on October 15th, 1980, and I believe that was 320. So for being early in the cycle, it's pushing up pretty far. Now what we've noticed in this cycle, where in cycle 21 the rainfall occurred on the downward solar flux, on this cycle 22 the rainfall is occurring on the upward. It's an indication that just rained the other day right here, and then we had a number of heavy storms last month right around this area here. So what this will do, when the overall solar cycle in another couple of years starts to drop down altogether, then we'll move into a period of drought.
Interesting enough, right when it hit the bottom here, it started coming back up is when we had freak snowstorms and record, they call it Siberian Express in the news, but that was when it happened, was right when it hit that low.
This extraordinary form of lightning has been known about since the 1930s, but these pictures have finally confirmed its existence.
This is the first time that mankind has seen upward lightning in such detail as we're seeing right now, and our understanding of physics relating to these upward flashes is increasing immensely.
Tom has observed that upward lightning is triggered by a nearby cloud-to-ground lightning strike. In this image, a lightning strike produces a bright flash of light. In under a second, it initiates the formation of upward leaders from two radio masts. Why this happens is still a mystery. But Tom's theory is that the lightning strike causes large amounts of electric charge to build up around the top of a tall structure. And this charge leaps up and connects with a cloud above.
You'll see a delay between when the flash takes place and then the leader is shot up from the tower tip and goes upward.
The images Tom has filmed over the last few years have astounded the world of lightning science.
Amateur radio played a part in the experimental development but was shut down in the massive global readjustment program following 1913. Free communications was not in the plan. Marconi stations such as KPH in Bolinas, California were seized, and RCA took over and eliminated the Marconi system, fashioned on Tesla's ideas. Following RCA's formation, amateur radio was restored and given the worthless frequencies above 1,500 kilocycles. Hams found that these frequencies allowed for very long distance but intermittent transmission by Hertzian means. RCA grabbed onto these frequencies and established electromagnetic radio. The Tesla Marconi system was forever abandoned. The present amateur radio has abandoned all experimentation and has embraced the corporate instituted technologies of the New Babylon. Although amateur radio has the potential for the development of the Tesla non-electromagnetic radio system, the lure of the 2-meter yak-yak renders this development unlikely. In all likelihood, Tesla's important developments are lost forever. History of wireless communications. It started with a person by the name of Matthew Loomis. What Loomis did is he chose 2 mountaintops 6 miles apart and flew 2 kites up into the atmosphere, roughly about 1,000 feet up. As you can see in the diagram, he hooked the telegraph key to one and a sensitive galvanometer to the other. And sure enough, when the key was hit on the other end, the galvanometer moved on the other end and Morse code transmission was possible. You also notice that there's no battery, no Southern California Edison, no Pacific Gas and Electric. Edison tried to develop a form of wireless where trains with long wires stretched along them could communicate to the telegraph wires along the tracks. This being a magnetic system and very ineffective. Basically, these could be called single energy forms of transmission, and this one uses pure electrostatic, and this one uses pure magnetic. It's interesting to note that the electrostatic worked and the magnetic didn't. Then we move on to the double energy wireless where the real progress was made. Hertz in 1880 found that he could transmit VHF and UHF signals by discharging a capacitor into a loop, a half-wave loop, and a half-wave loop at the other end would produce a spark. But this didn't work over a very great distance. Tesla found by taking 2 resonant coils and exciting one with alternating current would produce the appearance of electrical power at the other end. This worked at very far distances, and no RF amplifiers were required. It wouldn't light up a light bulb at the other end. As wireless progressed, Tesla established the system where he could transmit longitudinally through the Earth electrical power at a velocity of 291,000 miles per second. Also, he developed a beam tube.
What was that speed?
291,000 miles per second, pi over 2 times the velocity of light.
186,000 miles per second is C. I think you're exceeding C. Maybe kilometers?
No, it's pi over 2 times the velocity of light.
He is exceeding C. He'll go on and explain.
Okay.
There's a different set of dimensions.
All right.
Velocity of light simply is an expression of the ratio of energy to mass.
All right, which is a limit.
A limit to what?
As a constant.
It's a constant,
Yeah.
not a limit.
Wireless has saved numberless ships and human lives from ocean disaster. Mankind can never forget its debt to Guglielmo Marconi.
In the beam, Tesla found that he could transmit direct current energy over incredible distances. And this energy not diverging out of the beam, much tighter and more compact than any laser ever built. In the longitudinal mode through the ground, there was really no losses, and the light bulb would light up at the other end. Marconi, in an attempt to circumvent the Tesla patents, changed the impedance of the system and used the flat top antenna, where you would get transverse electromagnetic propagations at 186,000 miles per second and longitudinal magnetic dielectric transmissions at 291,000 miles per second. For those that want to go back through history, Professor Wheatstone proclaimed that the velocity of electrostatic induction was pi over 2 times the velocity of light. As those of you that know about electronics and electricity, I'm sure you all heard of the Wheatstone Bridge. Wheatstone was a very important researcher. As things progressed, we ended up with this. Thanks to Mr. Sarnoff and RCA, all of these things were eliminated.
I'm sorry, but I don't want to be an emperor. That's not my business. I don't want to rule or conquer anyone. I should like to help everyone if possible. Jew, Gentile, black man, white. We all want to help one another. Human beings are like that. We want to live by each other's happiness, not by each other's misery. We don't want to hate and despise one another. In this world there's room for everyone, and the good earth is rich and can provide for everyone. The way of life can be free and beautiful, but we have lost the way. Greed has poisoned men's souls, has barricaded the world with hate, has goose-stepped us into misery and bloodshed. We have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. Our knowledge has made us cynical, our cleverness hard and unkind. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity. More than cleverness, we need kindness and gentleness. Without these qualities, life will be violent, and all will be lost. The aeroplane and the radio have brought us closer together. The very nature of these inventions cries out for the goodness in men, cries out for universal brotherhood, for the unity of us all. Even now, my voice is reaching millions throughout the world. Millions of despairing men, women, and little children. Victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed, the bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die, and the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes, men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, and what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world, that will give men a chance to work, that will give youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite!